Hi, everyone. I'm Emily Longeretta, the Senior TV Features Editor at Variety, and I am so excited to bring out the cast and creators of the morning show. I'm going to start with executive producer Michael Ellenberg. I think. Kristin Hahn, executive producer. Director and executive producer Mimi Leader. Casting director Victoria Thomas. You know him as Chip Black, Mark Duplass. Mia Jordan, a.k.a. Karen Pittman. Our new addition, Bro Hartman, Boyd Holbrook. And the one and only Alex Levy, Jennifer Aniston. And our showrunner and executive producer, Charlotte Stoudt. How's everyone feeling? Great job. We all got out here. That's the first task.
Walking from the door here?
Yeah.
We did make it.
So we made it.
It doesn't always happen.
I want to ask, I asked a few of you backstage, how are we feeling now that the show's out and we can talk about it without spoilers? Because I feel like the show, as we were talking on the carpet, is very spoiler heavy. As you feel free now to talk and kind of
Remind us what happened.
I can't talk to anybody because everyone that I know that watches the show, they don't watch it as it's being aired. They wait until they're all there because they want to do the binge. How many of you guys are full bingers?
How many bingers?
Like, you won't watch until... Yeah, you're... Okay. Yeah, you guys are crazy. I don't get it. So, yeah. So I still have to hold some of it for at least for my core friends.
Or you get a lot of like, don't. I can't. I'm not there. No, please. I'm waiting to see it all at once. That's not a heavy day of viewing. To watch all of 10 hours of that heavy stuff.
A lot of emotion. Charlotte, let's start with you and kind of how you... When you guys started talking about season 4 and talking about these overall themes a few years ago, what was the goal of what you wanted people to take from season 4 and how you kind of brought that to life?
I think it the show sort of returns to the same themes, and I think it's really always about the price of the truth. And whether that be a very personal thing or the price of the truth in a sort of larger sense, whether it's a conspiracy or a cover-up or the reality of a journalist being abducted and, held in a foreign country like Evan Gershkovich, the Wall Street Journal guy, I think we're just sort of always looking at the cost of that. And I like the balance of the personal and the sort of journalistic sort of bumping up against each other like that.
Absolutely.
And it was important. I kind of wanted it to be super emotional in season 4. I was sort of, okay, don't laugh at me. I'm not saying we got there. But season 4 of The Wire is my dream because it was so emotional. Remember the school season? And
Don't, wait. Spoiler
Obviously don't. What
Anyway,
show did you just say?
enough for me. So yeah, it was really important, to have the feels.
Yeah, absolutely. We have so many producers here, and I want to ask a little about your collaboration. When the season starts and you guys start talking about what the season's going to be, what are those discussions like early on? What are you guys all talking about, and kind of what's that collaboration process like?
How can we top the last season? How can we take that to another level?
Also, how do you keep up with the news? The news cycle is changing rapidly every single day, and you can think of a story for the arc of a season, and then in 3 weeks or a month, it's completely different.
Yeah.
So that's hard for you.
Yeah,
you guys have a real job.
We'll pitch on something, and then 3 days later, it's in the news, and we're like, they lapped us. Damn it.
That's right. I think we're bugged. I think
Yes.
the writers are bugged.
For sure.
Or something.
They're listening.
Yeah.
He would never call somebody piggy in a press line. No, he wouldn't do it. It would never happen.
That's
Oh shit! They did. Now we got to write it out.
We didn't pitch.
Michael, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, and then we do choose, there's the juiciest stuff that we know about. And a lot of these issues affect everyone on the stage, right? So we're not journalists, but we're in media and Hollywood. I don't need to tell anyone in this room, it's been a period of tumultuous change and stress. And so the bits and bobs that are most meaningful and interesting to us and we think are most interesting to the audience, we also have the luxury of kind of locking into those and making them central to the season, right? So AI, it's not like AI is resolved, but Charlotte and the writers came up with an amazing payoff to that storyline this year, and I don't know if it was quite so central, to be honest, when you pitched the beginning of the season. So the show has always had, and Charlotte's had an amazing gift at what's the most telling detail to come, and we try to anchor around that.
We also keep Charlotte's crystal ball polished, and that helps a lot. She really does have an ability to kind of be very prescient about what's to come, and it's a nail biter for all of us because it takes quite a long time between shooting the show and actually sitting here with you tonight. And I think we all feel some anxiety every time the season is still 6 months out, but we're done. And we have to wait and hope it still feels relevant. Thankfully, thanks very much. Credit goes to Charlotte for really knowing kind of what's going to still be relevant to us using a blend of fiction and reality in a really profound way.
I mean, since the show started, it's in a way almost predicted the future in a weird sense, but still made, I guess, added in emotional storylines and people storylines, these emotional connections, that the reason that we fall in love with characters. So how do you kind of walk that line of, let's talk about some of these events that are happening in the world or happening in the industry, but also let's dive into people's personal life. So how do you find that balance?
I think we always start with character, right? So we look for, I think we've mentioned this before, but so specifically with AI, Stella came from the tech world. She was the coder. She was the sort of rebel. So it felt right to sort of tie Stella to the sort of AI question of the season, and really using AI as a kind of mirror, right, that she could look in. And the way we all do, right, the way that, people come in, they've been chatting to ChatGPT about should they refinance their house. Like every morning, everyone's like hung out with ChatGPT. I'm like, wow. So I find it that, again, AI is this giant thing, but it's also like, what should I do? People are literally asking an algorithm, what should I do? Which I understand why, but so I think that's how we kind of focus it down to the character, right? So it doesn't seem too intellectual, because that's bad. Heady is bad. I don't want heady. I want smart, but I don't want heady.
For sure. Big difference. Character is so important to this show, and especially bringing in new characters. Boyd, I'm looking at you. Let's talk about Bro.
Oh.
What attracted you to playing Bro in the beginning?
I think the first thing that came out of his mouth, he has this incredible way of going on these rants, and the writing's so good. I just saw that there was obviously a character there that has no editorial oversight and is a good contrast to what's going on with the rest of the world. And so I saw that the character was really alive. And then also somewhere deep down inside, there's a human being there we have to figure out.
Did you look to any real people for inspiration?
Absolutely not. Yeah, I think it's an amalgamation of a lot of people, right? Just kind of an umbrella of the whole breakaway journalism that's happening. And, really, there's so much, back to that, there's so much truth in the writing. So my job was simply just to find that.
Victoria, can you talk a little about casting Boyd as Bro and why he was the right fit for that?
What did you
Is
see?
he the right fit? I don't know.
Still not sure.
No, I mean, he's a great I'm sorry. He's a great actor. He had a certain masculinity that I think we wanted and that the show kind of needed, and that fits the show, or fits a different energy for the show. And, he just seemed like he could do it.
So
Up on time.
back in 2012, my brother and I produced this small movie called The Skeleton Twins out of Sundance, and Boyd was in it, and he made the choice to play this character as Australian, and I saw the
one
movie
believed
and
me.
it was great. And I met Boyd briefly on set, and I met him briefly at Sundance. And I didn't know he was not Australian for 12 years.
I am Australian, actually.
That's so great.
I'll add one other thing though about Boyd. Sorry to be embarrassing.
That's not an easy accent.
No.
I have to say, that is really hard, and I'm going to ask you to pull out some.
No, but we want to, I think in the way the show always tries to humanize the people we explore, the manosphere turned out to be vitally, a giant impact on the election, and kind of the last 18 months really emerged as really central in the culture. And we want someone who could both capture the spirit and kind of the sensibility of it, but also someone who's winning. And that he is a flawed character, as are all of our characters. But there's a humanity there, and you're not quite sure, what's on the level. It's kind of like when you listen to these people. What's on the level? What's a performance? What's real? Does he even know? And so the audience is let in on it and part of the experience with him. And Boyd didn't treat it as a joke. You land the jokes when they're there, but there's a sincerity to it as well. And in a show where everyone takes themselves so seriously. No disrespect to any of our characters. Bro's a little bit not so serious until he is, and that's disarming and kind of shook things up.
But also, he wasn't a caricature. I think we all didn't want to make him out to be some person we could make fun of and make a joke of. I think that was a big thing. Not wanting to make him a caricature.
I'd just say one other thing, that I was interested in an on-air persona who could give Alex a run for her money, right? Like the sort of game meets game, just in terms of like on-air charisma, talent, the ability to be relatable. So it felt like Alex.
Also, now we can talk about they needed chemistry.
Yeah.
So we want someone that Alex would have chemistry
That's
with.
what I was going to say. I was looking forward to someone Alex could kiss myself. And it seemed like great casting from where I stood.
My wife was very much looking forward to it. She was psyched. She was so impressed. I was like, that's how cool you are. That's how cool you are.
I love your wife.
Well, obviously, that relationship is also something that's so interesting to see Alex kind of her journey with Bro. How did you view what she was kind of going through with how she felt about him in the beginning versus how she felt at the end? And did it even change, really?
Well, it's kind of up in the air, isn't it? Well, I think it's the man you love to hate. You love to love him and you love to hate him. And he pushes every single button, and yet she can't, keep her distance. And then he does that, makes that beautiful gesture after the interview, and there's that beautiful human being inside that, man-o-verse man. And so it was really fun to play that sort of flavor, especially because Alex kind of went out on a limb too. That's not her norm. And then I think regrets it a little bit afterwards. I will see. We'll see what happens.
But I do think that whenever we're casting characters, we have such great actors on the show that we're always trying to cast someone who can give them a run for their money, whether it was Greta with Billy, just because she and her own way is as odd as he is. So it was, and then with, Boyd being able to stand up to Jennifer and giving her a run for her money. That seems to be a theme we're trying to do, is just sort of who's going to push them a little bit,
Gladiatorial contest.
Yeah.
It's gladiatorial.
Karen, speaking of that, Mia kind of gave everyone a run for their money this season. Yes.
We had a lot of fun.
How was it for you? I mean, how was that experience for you? Kind of her getting her due this season, I would say.
Well, I think I took for granted a little bit that you guys had been with Mia for 3 seasons. My nose a little bit to the grindstone when it comes to doing this show. And then in season 4, when everyone started sort of tuning into it and saying, yes, by the way, good for her, and she needs to walk out and fuck Stella and all that, I was like, oh, wow, people are watching. Do you know what I mean? It's very exciting. I think, I want to do things that are important in television, and want to do things that people are really interested in talking about. But really, I want to do things that are wildly entertaining as an actor. I think that's where television is at its best. And so I feel like I had one of those moments on the show in season 4, just like wildly. She's walking around in a red suit and her shoes on, and she's like, "Fuck you, Alex." You know what I mean? That was all fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
Good time.
I mean, I had asked you this earlier, but for the producers, what did you guys view that last moment that Mia has of her looking around Stella/Celine's office?
Amy should answer that since she shot it.
Yes, please.
Well, it was a moment, I believe it was the day after Kamala Harris.
Day after, yeah.
Day after lost the election. And, is there going to be a possibility for Mia to assume her power? Is she going to get there? And we knew what the state of the world was and what was happening, and it was terrifying. And, just wanted to take moments of Mia with her long fingernails, touching the desk and just taking in the room and what could be. And you did it beautifully, and as you do everything. And it was fun just to take those moments and let you move within the frame. And it was really emotional for all of us in the room.
And Mimi, you executed, so it's not about it not happening. It's about, you're wondering, and it's still,
Yes,
there's
you're
still,
wondering, is it
it
going to
leaves the
happen?
possibility of it happening still.
Yes.
So it was a heavy morning, but there was also a sense of possibility in the way you shot and the way you performed and
Yeah.
the way Karen played it that I think just gives it
Yeah,
such power.
we were definitely saying it's not over. It's beginning. We're going to fight the fight. Yeah, and we still do.
I feel like there's something that this show. Yeah, absolutely. Please.
I think that's also what the whole season ends on. I mean, you guys just saw episode 10. Like, we're still out there. We're still fighting. We're welcoming Bradley home. We're still out there. There's hope. There's optimism. I love how the season ended on that note of real, not just writing wise, but visually. It ends on just lots of light and hope and optimism, I feel like.
Yeah, can you guys talk a little?
Ultimately doing the right thing, right, at the end of the day. For a whole season of inner conflict and conflicts of interest and, battling a storm that you summon upon yourself, and the challenges of being in that position, being in positions of power, and how do you, stand by your integrity as a journalist, and also answer to the powers that be, and I think every character had that was faced with those questions and the truth, and what is the truth? How do you get to what is that today? And how frightening it is that it's such a question. And we were saying earlier, the news cycle moves so fast that for journalists, they have to get the story out if you want to be first, but you don't have proper time to fact check, and then the story's out, and then it's not correct, and then you have to walk it back, and it's a unbelievably challenging time for journalists for many reasons. I mean, just even their physical safety, obviously. But
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously we don't want to get too heavy, but we do want to, the show really does highlight a lot of things that are going on in the world. So when you guys are planning going ahead, how are you kind of working in what's going on in the current landscape? For any of the producers who want to comment on it.
I feel like
Charlotte.
Charlotte, I think you should take that, but this kind of speaks to the blend of fictional and reality, and it's a balance.
I always, when I interview writers to come on staff, I always say the show is about what it feels like to be alive right now. Yes, it's journalism, it's a sedative, legacy media network, but fundamentally to me, it's just we're living in such a crazy time, and since the show is sort of that kind of embrace the sort of the pandemic and just sort of the wild Mr. Toe's Wild Ride that we're on now, I think to me it's just I want the show to feel. I want you to watch it and go, yes, that's what it feels like. Even if you are not Mia in your high heels, or, the voice of the manosphere. I want it to be emotionally resonant, and not just in a small way, but like, yes, this is a little bit what it feels like to be in America. So we're asking that same question in the room for season 5, I think, and there are a lot of things to talk about. You're not talking just about 47. It's not the only thing to talk about. So it's partly like, how can we look at the whole landscape and pull out some interesting things, whether it be the guy who was, we were talking today about the guy who threw a hoagie at somebody, you remember, and then was put on trial. He was acquitted. But we had a little, bro feels very passionately about that guy. So it can be a tiny, tiny thing like that. Yeah. Or, looking at like, wow, why are there the 7 richest guys in the world have a lot of feelings about journalism? Like, what's that about? Yeah. And should they be allowed to control those things?
Absolutely.
So it goes from like the macro.
No, they should.
No,
absolutely not.
Thank you.
No.
So we can say that Paul will be back next season. Can we say that with his?
Who? We don't know.
We don't know.
Again, left it sort of is maybe not.
Okay. If Bro has anything to say about it, he will not be back.
Snap. But he doesn't have anything to say about it, does he?
Mark, I want to talk to you a little about Chip's. We talked so much about truth, and Chip really is determined to get the truth out there for the most part, but sometimes gets in his own way. I would say, doing his job. How is it like?
Best way.
In the best way, in the most lovable way. How is it like for you this season? I mean, he took on such a different role than he has in the past.
Yeah, it was fun this season. I mean, I think just, from a practical standpoint, I haven't been able to do a lot with Reese. Our characters are just sort of the Venn diagram overlap has been pretty, pretty small and short stuff. So it was really nice to dig in with her and kind of get our Woodward and Bernstein on a little bit, and get into that mode. So that was really fun. And then I think there was some really interesting stuff, because I always think about Chip as someone who, he sees himself as a bastion of journalistic integrity. But I think he misses the fact that, sometimes his allegiance to Alex and whatever you want to describe, that sort of whipping boy relationship, that sort of I need to be needed, whatever that pathology is, it sort of harms his ability at times to make the right calls when it comes to the truth and how to get it out there. But this season, he's with Reese and with Bradley. I thought it was really interesting that, you can kind of almost go back to season 1 with Chip and see that there were some moments where he might have believed the women around him a little bit sooner and acted a little bit sooner and maybe didn't. And he starts to fall into that trap a little bit with Bradley. And I think because that relationship is a little less complex than it is with Alex, he catches himself a little sooner. And I love that he's able to dip back in with the Claire storyline. And so in some ways, I think there's a little bit of Chip, Ghost of Christmas Past, kind of to get a little bit of a second shot to do this a little better and bring that integrity forward that he so wants to believe is in himself and get it a little more right this time. So that was really, I just love the way you write, Charlotte. It's just such cool stuff. I mean, we were lucky. So.
And Chip, the karaoke song, personal,
the best.
highlight.
So good.
You don't own me. Killer. Loved it.
We're going to need more of that going forward.
It's the most fun moment. It was so good.
I had a good time with that.
I also want to bring up someone who's not here. Is Jeremy Irons joined this season, and we can't. The fact that I'm even saying those words is it's so incredible. I mean, I know you guys feel the same way. What was it like? I mean, Jennifer, we talked a little about this before. What was it like for you to go head to head with Jeremy Irons as your dad?
Well, it was an extraordinary experience. He's an incredible, obvious, a legend, and also a squishy teddy bear who questions everything he does, like we all do, and is just so wonderfully committed. And we had a really wonderful time together. And for me, I loved that we were able to explore the backstory of Alex and where she came from and why she is the woman that she is today, the workaholic that she is, the not that successful in relationships, the tough relationship with her daughter, all of these things, what created this woman. And it was interesting for me to get kind of a peek behind the curtain into who raised her, and get to have that sort of cathartic experience of finally the lid blowing, the lid blows off with between the two of them, and they get to a really beautiful place, and hopefully that will set both of them free. And it was extraordinary. He's wonderful in every way.
I would imagine, a dream casting. What was it like for you guys?
We're very lucky with our.
Truly.
Honestly, we have some of the most extraordinary actors. It's pinch ourselves that we get to have all of these wonderful actors.
I just want to remind us on Jeremy. We did write. You wrote a beautiful love letter to him personally, so that when you get a love letter from Jennifer Aniston, you at least open it.
I didn't get one.
And I don't know that hurt our chances.
I didn't get one of those love letters.
One either. I didn't.
I got a. There's a casting appointment should you choose to.
Mimi, what were you gonna?
I was going to say, when we go out to someone like Jeremy and Marion, we're very surprised when we speak to them that they are huge fans of the show. That they are always as excited as we are to meet them. They are thrilled to be part of the show, and it's always surprising to us. I don't know why, but it's just like, oh my God, Marion Cotillard wants to be in the show, really? The goddess of France, and she was an extraordinary actor to work with this season. She came so prepared. Her English was extraordinary. And she worked very hard. And she was as nervous as we were on the first day, I think. She walked on the set and we were like, I took a big gulp, like, oh my God, I'm going to direct Marion Cotillard. And, but she was as nervous. And, every great actor, does a take. And then they look at you. They looked at the director. How was I? Did it work? There's something in their eyes, every great actor. And then that they are just as human and just as committed. And it doesn't matter your success. What matters is the work and the passion and the work you put into it. And I think everyone on our show, all these incredible actors sitting here, work so hard and prepare. And nobody phones it in. Everybody believes in the storylines and makes them better. They bring their, they put their shoes on and does it fit? And if it doesn't, we work it. And it's just exciting to work with all of you.
The relationships too.
Yeah.
They matter so much. I think the producers do an extraordinary job of creating the right environment for you to bring all of your ideas and all of your vulnerability as an actor into the room. You can grapple with the internal story that your character is dealing with because the writing is so extraordinary, and you want to hand yourself over to it. And so they really do set the table for us to do the work that we do and for the show that you guys see and that you like so much.
Yeah, I think just this cast of actors and the great writing, just as a casting director, it makes it really easy to get people to be on the show. And that's always a big plus. You're not begging someone or trying to, beg them to come on. And they all want to be a part of it. It's really makes my job a little bit easier. Then you just have to figure out the scheduling and the monies and all that stuff. But a lot of people want to be on the show, and it's or I'll get calls. Got anything coming up on the show, or they're right for, and so it really makes it a little bit easier for me. And
you're humble, Vicky. You're always saying, you always ask like, what don't we have? What flavor don't we have? what thing, like I'm looking at the whole map, like what's the piece what's in this amazing ensemble, what's the ingredient we don't have either haven't had on the show, or what could we use this season? So it's not just amazing.
Incoming calls.
Yes. It's deliberate and precise, and that's the key to the magic of it.
And also, Vicky, the energy she puts into a part that has one line is extraordinary, you guys. The level, the depth of search that goes on to find the best actor on earth for the one line. That's why this show shines and has such a sense of reality and authenticity to it, because the one line counts as much as the big roles.
Really does matter.
I can't help it. I mean, I just I can't. I mean, if I'm doing it, I mean, I care, and it's like we need it better. I'm just gonna work at it and get it right.
Also, you were the best reader. Vicky's an amazing actor. I love Vicky's reads. I learned so much about the script. I'm like, oh, let's cut those 2 words. Yeah. Like when she will read with people, you'd be like, oh, yeah.
She comes out to the table reads too and reads parts for us. Like that's one of the big parts of the show is we do these big table reads. Sometimes all the actors are in town. Sometimes some of them zoom in, and sometimes they fill in on parts. And I remember when Jeremy Irons showed up to the first table read.
He was
in London, and he was up on a big screen, and we're all on a table, and we're all like, fucking Klaus von Bülow's here, guys. What's happening? And I remember he just came in, leaned into the camera, and like slayed his first 3 or 4 lines, and then he leaned back and he smoked. And stared at us while we acted for like the next 20 minutes.
I don't think he could notice that. I don't know if he knew we could see him. Because he was definitely plumes of smoke, and then he was just sort of like a god, like just staring down at us, like watching everybody as if you were
smoking a cigarette. We were like, smoke that cigarette.
It was amazing.
We're all just trying to get Uncle Jeremy's approval.
Wow, that is such a good story. Oh my gosh, I love that. The last thing I do want to touch on, obviously, the season wrapped up with this beautiful moment between Alex and Bradley. And I think some of us talked about this backstage and on the carpet before, but that it really kind of all of the craziness that happened in the season came down to this relationship between the two of them and them having each other's back. So why was it for you guys so important to end on that note? And Jen, if you want to talk a little about that moment between you and Reese and how you guys got there.
Oh my gosh, well, it was such an extraordinary evening out on that wonderful tarmac. That was and it was a really complicated scene to shoot, a very emotional scene to shoot. Obviously, I hadn't seen Reese in forever, and I don't know if that was intentional or not, but it was really worked beautifully for us. And again, just doing the right thing. At the end of the day, that's what we want. We wanted to leave on a positive note as best we could, and we got our girl back. And now we'll see what happens to her post.
It's really quite a love story. They always come back to each other.
We really can't quit each other.
No, you can't. And I also want to say that, all these great performances were shaped so beautifully by our editor, Carol Kravitz, who did an extraordinary job on this episode and this season. I just wanted to give her a shout out.
Love that so much.
I also got to say, we did this Charlotte does this beautiful thing with women and relationships on this show, where they had this thing with Mia had this thing with Chris Hunter, where she was like, "Who cares about your baby?" Do you know? And then she's like, "Sorry, I said that about your baby." Do you know what I mean? And had that same moment with Stella and Mia. She does this beautiful thing where she shows women relationships, the intimacy that we have with each other, and how we come together and then we go away and then we come back together. You just do that so well, and it's so authentic, it's real. It's, I think, such a beautiful hallmark of what this show has done over 4 seasons. It's really shown how women grow together, how they work together, how they share power together. It's even that moment where Mia, you know, where Alex comes back in episode 9, says, "Sorry, I should have been there for you," and she's like, "Yeah, let's keep going together. Do you know? Let's keep finding common ground together." So important. Such a great hallmark of this show. So.
Yeah. And just portray it as honestly as possible, you know, and the messy parts,
messy.
which is what we love about these flawed, beautiful people being, you know, human beings having a human experience.
Absolutely.
And being accountable. Yeah.
I want to say thank you to all of you so much for being here tonight, and thank you
Thank
guys
you.
for coming.
Thank you guys for coming.
So
Thank you
glad
so much.
Watched and enjoyed.
Thanks, guys.